Hi, my young friends. So, today we are back at your own learning platform, Learn Forward with your grammar book, the Grammar Hub for grade 6 by Feathercap. And we have already learnt about verbs. Now you know verbs are not only action words, isn't it? Going ahead, we'll be learning about the different tenses in verbs now, right? Let's start the journey. Here's an exercise. In each of the following sentences, spot the tense, whether present, past or future. So, the time now is present, the time gone is past, and the time to come is future. We'll be just spotting out the tenses in these sentences. Let's see. I'm going to see the Ganges sharks. So, what's the verb here? Let's pick out, because that is going to tell you the tense. Yes, am going. So which tense is it, children? Is it present, past or future? You just have to tell that. Yes, good. That is present tense. Next says, they were swimming near the mouth of the river. Yes, good. This is past. You have were there. I could hear you saying that. That's wonderful. Next, will you be returning next year to spot them? Yes, will be returning. Which tense is it? Future. Good. Whenever there is will shall in the sentence with the verb, it means it is future tense. Next, we almost lost the Ganges dolphin due to the activities of foolish hunters. What is it? Yes, that is the past tense. Good. And the last is the old man is walking in the park. So which tense is it again? Good. That is again present, because is am. I told you the be forms. Is am is the present form. That's wonderful. Now, after just a recollection of your past learning, let's get started. Tense, that indicates the time of an action, and we have three main tenses, children. They are present, past, and future. And you know, each of this main tense is divided into four subcategories. That means four and another four, another four. So in all, we have 12 tenses. So what are those four subcategorization? Let's have here. It is simple present, simple past, simple future. Then we have present continuous, past continuous, future continuous. Then we have present perfect, past perfect, future perfect, and the last is present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous, and future perfect continuous, right? And if you look at the name, perfect continuous is a combination of perfect as well as continuous. So the role is also a combination, and even the formation of verb there is also a combination. We'll just see ahead and we'll be learning about them. Now, while learning about how to write, how to speak sentences in present, past, future, each of these subcategories of tenses, we need to remember that we have done different kinds of sentences. Out of imperative is a command. Its structure is same everywhere. It's not about present or past, because we are talking to the person in front, right? And then exclamatory sentences, they also, there's no point talking about them in present, past or future, right? So we will be focusing on the sentence structure in the case of affirmative sentences, that means the declarative sentences. Then we have the negative sentences and interrogative sentences. So depending on what the type of sentence we are writing, whether it is affirmative, it's negative, or interrogative, we are going to learn the verb formation in each of these tenses, right? Now, before we begin, let me tell you one thing, students. It's very important to remember that whenever we talk about negative sentences or we talk about interrogative sentences. We have already done these categories of sentences and learnt about their structure in our previous chapters. Negative and interrogative sentences. Whenever we talk about the formation of verbs in these sentences, what you have to remember is the role of helping verb. When we talk about the formation of verb here, helping verb is very important, and it is important to such an extreme that if it is not there in any of the tenses, we introduce it from our side, and that happens only in case of simple present tense and simple past tense. Because as we move to simple future tense, in simple present and simple past, there is no helping verb. Do you remember what is the helping verb? That helps the main verb in telling its tense. That is the helping verb. We have already done the auxiliary verbs, right? So the role of helping verb is that important. And when we'll be learning about the structure of verbs in different tenses, we will realize that only these two tenses are there in which we do not have any helping verb in affirmative sentences. And as we move to the third type, which is simple future tense, we write the sentence as I shall finish my project soon. This is a sentence in future tense. You have just identified all the tenses perfectly in your reconnect exercise. So I shall finish my project soon. In this case, do you agree this is future tense? And what's the verb here? Shall finish, right? And here finish is the main verb, whereas shall is the helping verb. So right from your simple future tense, we start having the helping verb there in the formation, in the structure, but only these two tenses are there where we do not have the helping verb. And what you have to remember in these is that the helping verb in negative and interrogative structures is so important that if it is not in the structure of affirmative sentences, we have to introduce it. Fine. So just remember this, and we'll be learning about the different formations of verbs very fast. So let's start. The first one is simple present tense. That is also called the present indefinite tense, right? So when we talk about simple present tense, this tense is used when we talk about nature, when we talk about routine, when we talk about somebody's habit, when we talk about universal truths or scientific facts we have learned in previous grades, right? So for all these conditions, in all these situations, we use simple present tense. Now let's learn how do we write sentences there. What is the structure of verb there? So when the sentence is affirmative, children, in case of simple present tense, you have to take care of the number and the person of subject. What do you mean by number and person? We have learnt about pronouns, first person, second person, third person pronouns. Then we have also learnt about singular and plural nouns, singular and plural subjects. So in case of simple present tense, whenever your subject is, it is singular, then with the verb you add s or es. The first form of verb, that is the root form, that is the first column in the table of 3 forms of verbs that you have learned from grade 4. In that form, you add ses when your subject is singular. And what you have to remember in pronouns, why I mentioned first person, second person, third person pronouns, because when we talk about first person, second person pronouns, there I and you. I is the first person singular, you is the first person singular as well as plural. These are considered as plural subjects, and we do not add ses to the verb. So here we use only the first form of verb. Even if you say a sentence using I, you say I go to school. I is singular. We never say I goes to school, isn't it? we do not add es or s to the verb there, because first person singular and second person singular, they are considered as plural, right? I hope this is clear. Now, when we are talking about the formation, I said we use SES with the verb when the subject is singular. So, let's see an example. Satish. Do you think it is a singular subject? Yes, of course. So, what is the verb we are talking about? We are talking about read. So, this being singular, we have added S here. It becomes Satish reads a magazine. Fine. But if suppose we want to say this in plural, the monkeys. So monkeys here is already plural. Now here with the verb we will not add SES. So we say the monkeys play in the jungle. And I say, as I said, first person singular is also considered as plural. So we say I live in Jodhpur. Although this is singular, we are not adding SES with the verb. One very interesting thing here to be introduced is, what is this word? Very good. This is boy. And which part of speech is it? It's a noun. Okay. What is the number of this? Number means whether it is singular or plural. It is singular. Yes. So this is singular noun. What do you do if you have to change it to plural? You add S. Very good. So you just add S to it and it becomes plural noun. Right, children? Now, what is interesting here? It is just the reverse in case of verbs. What if I write a verb here without SES? This verb without SES is not singular. It is just the opposite. This is plural verb. And when you add S to it, it becomes reads, and this now is the singular verb. Isn't it interesting to know? The nouns with SES are plural nouns, but the verbs with SES are singular verbs, right? And while we do subject verb agreement, we learn that the subject of the verb and the verb, the subject and the verb should be same in number, right? That means whenever we are using singular noun, we have to use singular verb. So no SES in the noun means there will be SES in the verb. So you can just think like this. In the subject, if it is plural, it is SES. That means verb will not carry SES with it, right? So the noun and verb are opposite in this structure. Now, this was I live in Jodhpur. Now, if these sentences you want to change into negative, what I said is the helping verb is very important to make the sentences negative. But when we read these sentences, we find only reads here, only play here, only live here. So do you see any helping verb? No, I mentioned that in simple present tense and in simple past tense, there is no helping verb in the affirmative sentences. So we are going to introduce from our side because it is a basic requirement for negative structure. And what is that? The helping verb introduced here is do or does, right? And let us learn a very short structure that in negative sentences, what is the structure of verb? It is the helping verb plus not plus main verb. In whatever form it is according to the tense, it will be helping verb, then not, and then the main verb. Got it? So now here we are introducing the helping verb from our side to make the simple present tense negative. And what is that? It is do or does. Now can you see? Do is the root verb, first form, and does is, it is do plus es. So when in the verb es is added, does that become singular or plural? it becomes a singular. So that means this is your singular helping verb for simple present tense and this is your plural helping verb, and we are going to use this to make the sentences negative. How? Let's not read these new sentences. Let us try to change these sentences now. Satish reads a magazine. So what will it be in negative? It will be Satish. What is the verb structure here? Helping verb. Satish is singular. So what helping verb will you introduce? Does. So Satish does. After helping verb, what do you have to use? Not. Satish does not plus. What is the main verb here? Reads. Now one more thing to remember is the helping verb and the main verb together both cannot be singular. That means both cannot carry SES with them. Now because we have used ES with the helping verb, changed it into does, so this reads will again turn back to plural form and it will be reads without SES. So the sentence will be Satish does not read a magazine. Got it? I hope you have understood. Okay, let's do more of it and you will realize. I hope this much you have understood clearly that by adding SES to a noun changes it into plural and adding SES to the verb changes it into singular form, right? So let's move to the next. The monkeys play in the jungle. Now here your subject is already plural. So the monkeys. What will be the helping verb, children? Do. Yes, without SES. Then you have to introduce not. So it will be the monkeys do not. And what is the main verb here? Play. There is no point of SES. So play will be the same. The monkeys do not play in the jungle. And what will be the negative of the next sentence? Yes, good. I do not live in Jodhpur. There is no SES. So we will use do not. Right? Okay. Now coming to interrogative sentences, the same thing you have to remember for interrogative, that helping verb is very important, and because in simple present tense we do not have any helping verb, so we introduce the same helping verb for interrogative structure also. And what is the easiest way to remember the interrogative structure? For all the tenses, it is just helping verb before the subject. Then you write the subject and then comes your main verb. Right? So this is helping verb plus subject plus main verb. Now again simple present tense, there is no helping verb, so we are going to introduce from our side. Let us write the same sentences into interrogative. Now because Satish is singular, what is the helping verb? Does. Good. So your sentence will be does. Then what is the subject? Satish. Does Satish. What is the main verb now? Main verb is read, right? Without SES. So does Satish read a magazine? Isn't it so simple? And what you have to remember, because this is interrogative sentence, what are you going to put at the end? Perfect. It should be a question mark. Many children forget and they just put a full stop. Remember this, it's interrogative sentence. Let's move to the next. Make it interrogative. This is plural, so your helping verb will be do. We start with helping verb. Do. Say ahead. Subject. Yes. Do the monkeys. What is the main verb? Look at the structure. Play. Yes. Do the monkeys play? And whatever rest in the sentence is needed in the jungle. And again a question mark at the end, children. Right? And how do you write the third one? I live in Jodhpur. Do I live in Jodhpur? We are not going to change the subject because generally this makes no sense. Do I live in Jodhpur? We ask, do you live in Jodhpur? Okay. But we are not going to change the subject. Do I live in Jodhpur? Now, one more thing in interrogative sentences is, we have already learned about interrogative sentences that they are of two types. One is the yes no type answers, the other one is WH question words. So when we are saying the answer in yes no, we are starting the interrogative sentence just with the helping verb. So if I ask you, do you live in Jodhpur? Do you study in grade 6? What your answer can be? It can be simply yes or no. Do you study in grade 3? You will say no. But if I ask you, which class do you study in? So what will be your answer? Will you say yes or no? If I ask you, where do you live? Will your answer be yes, no? No. So these questions are called WH questions. So in this case, what you have to do is, if it is WH question type questions, just before the helping verb, you have to introduce your question word. So we write question word in a bracket, which means if needed, you will be adding it. If not needed, you will start it with a helping verb simply to make it a yes no question type. Okay. So with this, we can make a question. The question here is, does Satish read a magazine? What is the question we can make? We can make, what does Satish read? Right? So if needed, we can say, what does Satish read? Now from the rest of the sentence, it is, we have to remove the part which gives the answer to your question word, because we cannot say, what does Satish read a magazine? A magazine is an answer to your question word, what? So we are going to delete this and we stop here. What does Satish read? That's it. If I ask, do the monkeys play in the jungle? What can be my question? Where do the monkeys play in the jungle? Right? So my question will be, where do the monkeys play? That means, what is the answer? In the jungle. So we are going to skip in the jungle. We'll just stop play. Where do the monkeys play? And in the next, where do you live? So we are not going to write Jodhpur, in Jodhpur here. This is interrogative sentences. I hope this is clear to you, each and every point, because once this is clear, moving ahead will be easier and faster. Got it? Okay, let's move to the next. The next is simple past tense. The same thing. The only difference is, in simple past tense, as you do in simple present tense, you add ses to the verb. You look at the subject, whether it is singular, plural, first person, second person, third person. Here there is no point. Just pick the second form of verb, which is the middle column of your verbs table, and you get the affirmative sentences, right? So the structure is subject plus the second form of verb. Second form of verb we also write as V2. That means we are talking about the second form of verb with all the subjects, and then you write the rest of the sentence. Okay. Now here also what you see, because it is just the second form of verb, there is no helping verb. What was the helping verb that we introduced in simple present tense? Yes, do, does. What is the past tense of do? Did. So it is this did, the helping verb, which is introduced in case of simple past tense, and everything else remains the same. The rule we followed, that the helping verb and the main verb will not carry ESS together. The same rule follows here also, that the helping verb and the main verb together will not go in simple past tense. So that transformation also we have to do. How? Let's see. When we say the sentence in affirmative, we simply say subject plus second form of verb plus object. Like we say, father invited all my friends to the birthday party. So what is the verb here? Invited. This is second form of verb. Now when you have to make this negative, there is no helping verb. So you have to introduce, what is it? Did. Yes. Now do you remember what was the formation in negative sentences in present tense? It was do, does, and then not, and then the first form of verb. Same formation. The only difference is now, because your tense is past, so in place of do, does, you will write did not. With that, you will use the first form of verb. You will not use second form again. So what will be this in negative sentence? Father did not. Change this to the root form, the first form, which is invite. Father did not invite all my friends to the birthday party. And when you have to make it interrogative, same, start the sentence with the helping verb. What is the helping verb? Did, yes. So it will be did. Then you will write subject. The helping verb will come before the subject as in simple present and actually in all the tenses. Then you will be having first form of verb and then the object. And if you have to introduce a question word here, so you can just write a question word before helping verb. It will come in the beginning and then you will omit whatever is extra in the sentence, which is actually giving an answer to your question word. Like, did father invite all my friends to the birthday party? So this is the helping verb. This is your subject. This is your verb in the first form, and then you write the rest of the sentence. And if you introduce a question word, it will be just whom here. Whom. Now what is the answer to your question whom? All my friends. So you are going to omit this. Right? So your sentence will be, whom did father invite to the birthday party? And suppose you want to put the question where. Now what is the answer to your question where? The answer is to the birthday party. So we are going to skip this and your sentence will be, where did father invite all my friends? Right? So this is just to show you that whatever answer you have for the question word being introduced, you will just skip that from the sentence. Where did father invite all my friends? Question mark at the end. So I hope this formation after making the simple present tense clear is easier for you, much easier. Good. So let's move to simple future tense now. And in simple future tense, we have the helping verb. The journey of helping verb in the tenses starts from here, right? So here onwards, you will always have the helping verb in all the tenses, and it will be very easy to transform the sentences into negative and interrogative. What did I tell you for making negative? After helping verb, you just have to put not and then verb in its form and all. And to make the sentences interrogative, what you have to do? You have to just take, it is subject here, right? So you just have to take the helping verb before the subject and your formation becomes helping verb plus subject, then the main verb, right? Now here what you have to remember, sometimes your interrogative sentences can be negative also. So when you are talking about some negative sentence, either you take not with the helping verb in its contraction, like do not, don't, right? Or if you are using do here, not somewhere in between, so not will come here after the subject. We'll just do some example and then it will be clear to you. So when we are talking about simple future tense, the affirmative sentences have will, shall. This is the helping verb, and with it you have the first form, root form of verb. So making them negative is very easy. You will just write not over here, right? And when you have to make them interrogative, you will take will, shall in the beginning, and then you write the subject, and then you write the main verb, right? Let's see the examples. Vikram will go to school. If I have to change it to negative, what will it be? Vikram will not go to school. Will is the helping verb. And if I have to make it interrogative, I'll just pick this will in the beginning and it will be, will Vikram go to school, right? Will Vikram go to school? But if I want to introduce a question word here, I'll say, where will Vikram go? Not to school. That is the answer to the question where. So it will be, where will Vikram go? Isn't it easy now, children? Yes, that's good. Your smiles reflect that you have understood it well. So let's have some sentences here. Fill in the blanks using the simple present, past or future tenses. She dash reading history books. So it is like. In present tense it will be, she is singular. So with verb you will put s. Good. She likes. Next. Do you think my uncle dashed the theater by then? Reach. Do is present tense. Otherwise, in also in interrogative sentences, we use the first form, root form only, whether it is present or past. So, do you think my uncle reached? It will be past tense. Do you think? This is the verb which is going in present tense, but then it is, do you think my uncle reached the theater by then? That means by that time. So we are talking about past tense. Amir always dash his homework on time. When we say always, that means we are talking about routine. That means it's his habit. So that's a good habit. So Amir always will be using simple present tense. That will be does. Next, this pencil dash to me belong not. That means it has to be a negative sentence. So your this subject is singular. That means your helping verb will be does not, and verb will be without ses. Yes, good. Does not belong to me. Next, I dash to Australia next month. Travel next month. That means you are talking about future tense. Yes, perfect. I shall go. I shall travel. Next, dash the teacher come to class every day, and it is an interrogative sentence. Can you see? There's a question mark. So it is do. That means what will you add here? The teacher is singular. So your helping verb in the beginning will be, yes, it will also be singular, which is does, with es added to it. Good. So this shows that you have understood the tenses, and it was just simple present tense, simple past and simple future that we have done. The other verbs are still there. We'll be continuing in the next session ahead, children. Till then, happy learning.